The afternoon my life split in two, I was microwaving leftover pasta. My phone lit up with a text from my older brother Brandon. 7 words that made me set the fork down and read it twice. "I'm quitting my job. You'll take care of us while I figure things out." No question mark. No please. Just a statement, like he was confirming a reservation I'd already made. "My name is Madison Blake. I'm 29 years old. And somewhere along the way, my family decided that being responsible meant my bank account belonged to everyone but me." I stared at that text, feeling my jaw tighten. The old script tried to load in my brain. Ask what happened, offer to help, tell myself he's under pressure. But my fingers moved before the guilt could catch up. "That's not on me," I typed back. 3 seconds of courage. Then I hit send. 15 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was my dad, and he wasn't whispering. The message came in all caps, shouting through the screen. "Sign the $180,000 loan for your brother, or you're banned from this family. All holidays, everything." No please, no question mark. Just an order and a threat, like I was an employee who'd forgotten her place. If you've ever been the responsible one in your family, the one everyone assumes will fix things, fund things, figure things out, stay with me until the end. Because what they did before that text and what I did after might sound familiar, and you can decide for yourself whether I was cruel for choosing a one-way ticket over a $180,000 promise. Let me take you back so you understand how we got here. I grew up outside Denver in a house where my parents loved saying, "We're a team." But the positions on that team got assigned early, and nobody asked what I wanted to play. I was the kid who got straight A's without being reminded. I started working at 16, stocking shelves at a grocery store to save for a laptop nobody was going to buy me. When I went to college, I stitched together scholarships, campus jobs, and used textbooks until my fingers knew the library keyboard better than my own phone. Brandon got a different playbook. When he crashed his first car at 19, my parents called it a learning experience. When he bounced between 5 majors and 3 business ideas that never launched, they called it finding his path. When his credit cards maxed out, they quietly dipped into savings so he wouldn't feel the sting. My mom would pat my shoulder at family dinners and say, "Madison's fine. She's the responsible one." Like that was a compliment instead of a job description I never applied for. Here's how it starts when your family decides you're the safety net. First, it's small. You pick up a brunch tab because Brandon forgot his wallet. You add him to your phone plan just for a month while he figures out his freelance thing. You bundle car insurance because it's cheaper and you make the most anyway, right? Then the requests get bigger. Health insurance through the marketplace because he can't go without coverage. A $2,000 wire to clear a debt so he can reset. Security deposits, equipment loans, vet bills, overdraft fees. Every ask came wrapped in the same promise. "We'll pay you back when this takes off." I'm a data analyst. Numbers are my language. So one night, after the third just spot me this month, I opened a spreadsheet and started tracking every dollar that left my account with a family member's name attached. The grocery runs, the subscription he forgot to cancel on my card, the rent gaps, the emergency dental work, the investment in podcast equipment his girlfriend Kayla swore would monetize any day now. Individually, the numbers looked manageable. Together, in rows and columns with dates, they painted a different picture. Over 10 years, I had quietly transferred thousands to people who never transferred anything back, except guilt when I hesitated. Every time I thought about pushing back, I'd hear my mom's voice. "You know how your brother is. You're the only one we can count on." I didn't realize that sentence was the real contract they thought I'd signed. Meanwhile, a different email sat in my inbox, collecting dust for 3 weeks. An offer from my company's European headquarters. Lead data analyst position in Berlin, higher salary, relocation package, a team to manage, a life 6,000 miles from everyone who saw me as a walking loan application. I'd mentioned it to my mom once, testing the waters. She paused. For 1 second, she sounded genuinely happy. "Berlin? Baby, that's huge." Then her voice shifted, soft and careful, the tone she saved for guilt. "But with Brandon still figuring things out, is now really the time to move halfway across the world? You know he's been fragile. If you leave right when he's turning a corner, what does that say?" Just like that, the dream started feeling selfish. So I let the Berlin email sit, told myself there would be other opportunities, told myself family comes first. And then Brandon sent that text. And 15 minutes later, my dad sent his ultimatum. I read both messages one more time. My worth reduced to a signature. Our relationship measured in collateral. They hadn't even pretended it was about love anymore. My phone buzzed again. Another message stacking in the family group chat. I didn't open it. Instead, I pulled up that dusty email from Berlin and stared at the blue button I'd been too scared to touch. Accept offer. My heart pounded, but for the first time, it wasn't fear. Wasn't just entitlement. It was fraud. 3 days before my dad's ultimatum, my mom texted the family group chat. Family Zoom at 7. Important. She added 3 heart emojis like that made it less ominous. I logged on expecting the usual, another round of, Brandon's so close, he just needs a little more time. What I got was a pitch deck. My parents were already on screen when I joined, faces lit by the warm kitchen light I grew up under. Brandon appeared a minute later with his girlfriend Kayla beside him, both of them camera-ready like they were presenting to investors instead of their exhausted sister. My dad cleared his throat. Maddie, we want to talk about Brandon's opportunity. My mom shared her screen and a PDF filled my laptop. Bold letters across the top. Studio Rebrand and Wellness Hub, Carter Family Plan. I watched, stunned as slides clicked past. A podcast studio. A creative wellness center with meditation rooms. Branded merchandise. Mood boards and photos of empty lofts with exposed brick. Revenue projections based on words like rapid growth and sponsorship potential. Then came the final slide. A budget breakdown with a neat little box. Bank loan $180,000. And next to it, in smaller font, co-signer Madison Blake. My stomach dropped through the floor. Brandon grinned. Pretty great, right? We've run the numbers. The bank just needs someone with a strong credit profile to sign off. It's no big deal, just on paper. My mom jumped in before I could respond. Honey, you have that incredible credit score. We're not asking you for money, just your name, just a signature so Brandon can finally build something. My dad nodded like he was offering me a gift. We'd do it ourselves, but we've got some dings on our credit. You're the future, kiddo. This is how families help each other. For a moment, nobody said anything. Then my mom did something unexpected. Her voice softened, genuinely softened, and she leaned toward the camera. I know we ask a lot of you, Madison. I do. And I see how hard you work. Your father and I. We're proud of you. We really are. My chest tightened. For 3 seconds, I thought maybe she understood. Then she kept talking. That's why we know you'll do the right thing here. Because you always do. You're our rock. And Brandon just needs this one chance, one signature, and then he'll finally be set. You can do that for your brother, can't you? The warmth evaporated. I wasn't being seen. I was being handled. No, I said. The Zoom call went silent. Excuse me? My dad's eyebrows shot up. I kept my voice steady, even though my hands were trembling under the desk. I'm not co-signing a $180,000 loan. Not for a studio. Not for anything. Brandon laughed nervously. Maddie, chill. It's not like you'll actually be paying it. It's just to get the approval. If this fails, I said, the bank doesn't come for you. They come for me. My credit, my future. That's not happening. Kayla leaned into frame, perfectly made up, eyes wide. Wow, that's honestly kind of cruel, Maddie. You're just sitting on your savings while Brandon drowns? My dad's voice rose. We raised you better than this. Family steps up. We didn't raise a selfish brat. I let them talk. Let the guilt phrases crash over me like waves. After everything we've done, you know how your brother is. This is our dream as a family. Then I said, as calmly as I could, I've already stepped up, for years. Phone bills, insurance, rent gaps. None of that was a loan agreement, but I still paid. I'm done. The call ended with my dad accusing me of destroying Brandon's future and my mom whispering, "You'll regret this," like a curse. That night, alone in my apartment, something nagged at me. My parents had said the loan would only work if I signed, but doubt crept in. I pulled up my credit report, more out of habit than suspicion, and started scrolling. Most of it was familiar. My car, my credit cards, my lease. Then I saw it. A personal loan for $5,000 opened 18 months ago. Listed purpose, home improvement, mailing address, mine, property address, my parents' house. I had never taken out a home improvement loan. My hands went cold. I remembered my parents redoing their floors 2 years ago, my dad joking about how annoying the approval process was. I'd assumed it was under their names. It wasn't. It was under mine. Someone had used my social security number, forged my information, and taken out debt I never agreed to. And now they wanted $180,000 more. I sat in the dark, staring at that screen, finally understanding what I was to them. Not a daughter, not a sister. A credit score with a pulse. The Berlin email was still open in another tab. That blue button waiting. Accept offer. I thought about my mom's voice calling me our rock. I thought about the $5,000 loan I hadn't signed. I thought about what would happen if I stayed, if I kept being the responsible one, if I let them take one more piece of me. My hand wasn't shaking anymore when I clicked. A confirmation page loaded. Start date. Monday. New city. New life. I didn't call anyone. Didn't explain. I just opened my banking app and started dismantling every financial thread that tied me to people who saw my future as their collateral. Phone plan, canceled. Car insurance, unbundled. Health insurance, removed. Automatic transfers, stopped. Then I requested a credit freeze with all 3 bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, locking my file so no one could open anything in my name without my explicit approval. By midnight, my phone showed 56 missed calls in a group chat I couldn't scroll to the bottom of. I set it face down and let it buzz. The morning after I clicked accept, my phone looked like a crime scene. Missed calls stacked in double digits. The family group chat had become a wall of paragraphs I couldn't bring myself to read. Voicemails piled up, some crying, some screaming, some eerily calm in that way my dad gets before he explodes. I didn't open any of them, not yet. Instead, I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, and started making lists. Flights to book, boxes to pack, accounts to close, a life to dismantle in 6 days. The messages kept coming. My mom sent a long text about betrayal, about how she never thought her own daughter would turn her back on blood. My dad sent clipped, angry lines. Ungrateful. You think your fancy job makes you better than us? Brandon went passive-aggressive on social media. I watched him post quotes about the people closest to you being the ones who fear your success and knowing who's really family when things get hard. Kayla added her own commentary. Must be nice to hoard stability while others struggle. On day 3, my mom called. Not the group chat, a direct video call. I answered because I knew if I didn't, they'd show up at my apartment. Their faces filled the screen. My dad in his recliner. My mom at the kitchen table. Brandon in a small box in the corner, arms crossed. Madison. My mom's voice cracked. How could you do this to your brother? He quit his job because he thought you'd help. He was counting on you. I felt my shoulders tighten, but I kept my voice flat. He made that choice without asking me. That's not my responsibility. My dad leaned forward. You need to call the bank. Tell them you'll co-sign. We can still fix this if you stop being dramatic. I'm not calling anyone, I said. And I'm not signing. Brandon scoffed. Here we go. Spreadsheet Maddie's gonna pull up her little charts and pretend that's the same as being family. So I did. I turned my laptop so the camera caught my screen. Rows and columns, dates and dollar amounts, every favor, every bailout, every just this once that stretched across a decade. This is 10 years, I said. Phone bills, insurance premiums, rent you couldn't cover, equipment for projects that never launched, emergencies that were only emergencies because no one else planned ahead. I scrolled slowly so they could see. I never called any of it alone, even though you promised to pay me back. But it adds up. Thousands of dollars that only flowed one direction. I paused. And then there's the $5,000. The screen went quiet. What $5,000? My mom asked carefully. The home improvement loan. The one opened in my name 18 months ago, for your floors. The one nobody told me about. My dad's jaw tightened. It was easier to use your information. Your credit's better. We were going to pay it off before you even noticed. But you didn't, I said. It's still there. Still on my report. Still mine to explain if anyone ever pulls my file. My mom started crying. We didn't think you'd be so... We were going to fix it, we just needed time. And now you want $180,000 more. I let the silence sit. I'm done. Brandon threw his hands up. So that's it? You're just going to abandon us? Walk away like we're nothing? I'm going to live my life, I said. The one I built. The one I paid for. You're going to have to build yours without me holding it up. My dad's voice dropped cold and hard. If you get on that plane, don't bother coming back. You won't have a family to come back to. I looked at him through the screen. This man who'd spent my whole life telling me responsibility was love, that sacrifice was duty, that family meant giving until you had nothing left. Then I guess I won't, I said. And I ended the call. The last few days before my flight passed in a blur. I boxed up my apartment, sold what I couldn't take, and forwarded my mail to a P.O. box I'd check remotely. The night before I left, I sat on my stripped mattress with my phone in my hands. 73 missed calls now. A group chat I'd muted so hard it might as well have been deleted. One text from my aunt, my dad's sister, stood out. I don't know the whole story, but I know enough. You're doing the right thing, honey. Sometimes the bravest thing is walking away. I read it 3 times. Then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The airport the next morning felt surreal. Every step toward the gate was a step away from a version of myself I was finally ready to leave behind. I didn't cry at security. I didn't hesitate at boarding. I found my seat, buckled in, and watched Denver shrink beneath the clouds. Somewhere down there, my family was waking up to their first morning without me as their backup plan. No one to call when rent was short. No one to float the insurance payment. No one to make their problems disappear. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't anyone's safety net, and it terrified me. But beneath the fear, something else stirred, something that felt dangerously close to relief. The plane climbed higher. The city disappeared. I closed my eyes and let myself breathe. Berlin in winter was gray, cold, and completely unfamiliar, and I loved every minute of it. My first week passed in a fog of jet lag and onboarding meetings. New systems, new faces. A language I didn't speak yet, filling the streets with sounds that meant nothing and somehow felt like freedom. Back in Denver, the fallout was just beginning. I didn't have to imagine what happened. It trickled back in pieces, through my aunt, through cousins who couldn't resist sharing updates, through the digital breadcrumbs my family left all over social media. The first thing I learned, the bank said no. Without my signature, Brandon's application collapsed. Turns out, lenders don't accept vision boards as collateral. My aunt sent me a message saying my parents were shocked, genuinely shocked, that the bank wouldn't see Brandon's potential and approve him anyway. They really thought you'd cave, she wrote. When you didn't, they figured they'd charm their way through. They didn't. The second thing I learned, Kayla was gone. Without my monthly bailouts, Brandon couldn't keep up the lifestyle. The downtown apartment with the exposed brick and perfect lighting? Gone within 2 months. The landlord, shockingly, wanted actual rent instead of promises about future sponsorship deals. Kayla stuck around for a few weeks of instant noodles and overdue notices. Then she didn't. I found out through Brandon's own social media, a late-night story about people only riding with you when the car's new, followed by blurry photos of his stuff crammed into the back of a rideshare. He moved back in with my parents. My parents, meanwhile, had their own reckoning. No more quiet transfers from my account to cover utilities when things were tight. No more health insurance premium magically paid on the first of the month. No more invisible daughter holding everything together from 6,000 miles away. They sold the house 3 months after I left, downsized to something smaller in a cheaper neighborhood. My mom described it in a mass email as simplifying, but my aunt called it what it was. What happens when you treat one kid's paycheck like an endless ATM? Here's the part that wasn't clean, though. That $5,000 loan, the one they'd opened in my name without asking, didn't disappear just because I'd frozen my credit. It took 4 months of phone calls, dispute letters, and documentation to prove I hadn't authorized it. 4 months of watching my credit score dip while the bureaus investigated. 4 months of anxiety every time I checked my report, wondering if something else would surface. In the end, the loan was removed. My score recovered. But those months reminded me that walking away doesn't erase the damage. It just stops new damage from piling on. My family tried a few more tactics before they went quiet. My mom posted vague apologies on Facebook. Sometimes we hurt those we love most and can only pray for forgiveness. Every post ended with a line about helping Brandon rebuild, like the whole universe should be a GoFundMe for his choices. My dad sent one final message: "When you're ready to apologize, we'll be here." I didn't respond. New Year's Eve came 6 months after I'd landed in Berlin. I spent it on a rooftop with coworkers I was just starting to call friends, watching fireworks paint the sky over a city I was learning to love. When I got home that night, my phone waited on the counter. A mass family text, grainy selfies from whatever small house my parents lived in now, my mom's caption saying she missed those who aren't with us this year. A separate message from her: "We hope you'll come home next Christmas. Your brother's trying. You know we're all hurting." A year ago, that message would have sent me spiraling. The guilt would have won. This time, I read it in my quiet apartment, surrounded by plants I'd bought myself and bills that only had my name on them. And I didn't feel guilt. I felt distance. Not the cold kind, just the kind that lets you see clearly. I did call them eventually. Not that night, but a few days later. The conversation was awkward. My parents didn't scream, but they didn't fully apologize either. It was a lot of, "We're sorry if you felt," and "We all made mistakes." But somewhere in there, my dad admitted the $5,000 loan was crossing a line. My mom said she understood why I froze my credit. Brandon got on for a minute, mumbled something about working a delivery gig while he figured out his next move, and handed the phone back. It wasn't a movie moment. No violins, no group hug, just real people, still a little defensive, starting to realize I wasn't coming back to the old script. The real change didn't happen in that call. It happened in the quiet routines I built without them. Weekly therapy, where I finally said the words financial abuse out loud and didn't immediately take them back. Automating savings into my own accounts instead of someone else's emergencies. Learning which cheap noodles I liked and which I hated. Discovering that I enjoyed walking alone with a podcast more than sitting at family dinners pretending not to notice who forgot their wallet. I still have a spreadsheet, but now it tracks my goals, trips I want to take, classes I might sign up for, savings milestones that belong to me. No line item labeled family bailout. Here's what I wish someone had told me at 20 instead of 29. Being the responsible one doesn't mean being the sacrificial one. Being good with money doesn't obligate you to light your future on fire so someone else never feels heat. Love and loyalty don't require you to co-sign away your peace, your credit, your sanity. You're allowed to say no, even when people cry, even when they call you selfish, even when they tell the whole family you're the villain. You're allowed to leave, not because you stopped loving them, but because you finally started loving yourself enough to stop being their safety net. If any of this sounds familiar, if you're the one they always call because you'll understand, I'm not going to tell you walking away is easy. It isn't. It's messy and scary, and your phone will fill with messages that make you question everything. But I can tell you this. On the other side of that first no, there's a version of your life where your worth isn't measured by how much you bail everyone else out. And you deserve to find out what that life looks like. If this story hit close to home, drop a comment below. I read every single one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone still trapped being the family ATM, send it to them. Sometimes we need permission to choose ourselves. Consider this yours.